Today we're going to be talking about how to keep your characters looking consistent and on model when you have to draw a character a bunch of times for like a cartoon series you're doing, or a picture book series that you're doing, or a comic series that you're doing that has the same characters and they show up a lot, but they don't look too different from picture to picture or page to page or episode to episode. So I have some tips today that I'm going to share with you to get your characters on model that you can use. Let's get into it. So my first tip for you is I know what they don't look like, which leads me to what they do look like. This is for somebody who you've drawn the picture of your character and you're like, that doesn't look like what it looks like to me in my mind's eye or in my head. It doesn't look right. Something about it doesn't look right. I often say I don't know how to draw the characters, but I know if I draw them wrong, it's usually like a first draft and I will edit that many times, at least probably 2 or 3 times, to get it to look like what I want it to look like, or what I know that the character looks like. In your mind, at least, you can see it. And if it's not translating correctly on the paper or the tablet, just keep that picture in your mind of what they look like and try to get it to look like that. So my next tip for you to get your characters to look consistent, if you've probably drawn the character at least once where it's like you like what it looks like and you want the other pictures of that character to look like that one, get like a bunch of pictures of that character that you've drawn well that you like, put them together, and with all of those pictures around, draw this new picture that you're trying to do with all those pictures around as reference. Because I think if you have a picture of what your character looks like, it's supposed to look like nearby, that'll already put you on track to making sure it looks right in the first place. Put a lot of pictures that you think represent that character best, put them together, and then when you draw in your new picture, have those pictures around so you can look over to that one to make sure that it's on track and is looking like the character. So my next tip for you is make a list of common character drawing mistakes that are easily correctable. Just have that available when you draw your character. Again, you know what your character is supposed to look like, or even if you don't know what your character is supposed to look like, you know what your character isn't supposed to look like. So if you're looking at a picture of your character that you drew and you don't like it, so to speak, usually you can tell what's off about it. So I have a picture here to illustrate my point. These ones on the right are pictures of Manopla that I like how they came out. I think that they are on model and they are the right way that I would draw Manopla. The ones on the left that I have here are pictures of Manopla that I drew that I think don't look great or off model. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This one is one I drew probably 4 years ago at this point, 3-4 years ago. So I'm going to just make a list of what I don't think looks right. Let's see. The shape, that's something. It's too pointy here. Too pointy. Eyes are too long. Another thing I would say about this one is just overall, the lines are too loose. With this one, I can already tell a couple of things. One is that she's too tall, which I usually, when I initially draw her, she's too tall. I'm gonna write too tall. Oop, not too Manopla. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. Can never be too Manopla. She's awesome and really cool. Oh my gosh, I just wrote the same thing again. My brain. Tall. T-A-L-L. Tall. This part is way too long, and I can tell that by looking at this old picture that I drew probably Halloween of 2021. The star's too big. Star. Face is too smushed. Face is too close together. you can't see what I'm doing on the side, but like this part needs to be separated more from the mouth part, and the eyes are too far apart. And then also the width should not be that long, but I can tell that it's not correct. I would say probably there. So that's a really good tip that you should do, is look at your character, whether you have it on a tablet or if you have it on a piece of paper, and just either on your notes on your phone or on a different piece of paper, have that be like your key, where common drawing mistakes you make for your character, you will just write them all there. And then when you have a picture of your character, you do a new one, you can go like, okay, is it too tall? No. Is the eyes too far apart? No. Okay, what was another thing? Is it too pointy? And if it is, then you can fix it. If it's not, then you can just leave it. When you recognize things that you commonly don't like about your drawing, or that you feel is incorrect about your drawing, calling it out, recognizing it will help you not do that anymore. And my next tip for you is tracing. I always say, if I've drawn something perfectly the first time, why in the world would I ever draw it again? For example, when I was getting my creative ideas for Ornocito initially a long time ago, I had drawn the logo on a piece of paper. I drew the logo on a piece of paper, and I was like, this looks so amazing. This looks so great. This is perfect. Like the typing logo, like the words Ornocito. And I was like, this looks so great. Like, and then at the time I was just learning how to do digital art, and I was like, I cannot draw this again. Like, it's not gonna look as million times amazing as this first picture does. So what I did was I took a photograph of it on my phone. I got like the charger thing for your phone. It has like a USB on one end if you have an Android. I don't know about Apple's. And on the other end it has a USB-C part, and you can plug that into your computer and it'll show you all the files on your phone, and you can go to that picture and put it in your art program that you use, your digital art program. And then once you do that, you can just trace it, and then you don't have to draw it again. So that perfect picture that you had that you like so much, you can use that one. I would say definitely don't be like embarrassed about tracing. I mean, I'm not saying trace other people's stuff. I'm saying trace your own stuff. Like, if you drew the character perfectly, don't draw it again. You drew it well, really good that you like it. Trace some of it maybe. Like, if you need to trace some parts of your art or your character, if you need to trace some parts of your character to draw that same character in a different posing, especially if it's in the beginning or even if it's later, like, do that. And tracing is a way that you can keep your character on model. But again, I want to make the point, I'm talking about tracing your own art. Do not trace other people's art and then say it's your art. That's not cool. That's really lame. So my next tip that I have for you, I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but I would say come back to your art with fresh eyes in 10 minutes, an hour, a day, a week, however long it takes you. Usually an hour or 2 hours is enough time. Even if you just turn your computer off and go get some lunch, and then you come back to your art and you're like, hey, like, I think the face looks too long, or I think the arms are, one arm is bigger than the other arm, or something like that, then you can fix it. But sometimes if you're just like sitting with your art the whole time and you're just like working all the whole day and you're not taking breaks, for example, it can be hard to spot what's off because you're just so in it that you don't even notice, So that's my tip regarding fresh eyes on the situation, so you can better assess what needs to be altered and changed to get it to look like how you want it to look like. So my last tip for you to keep your characters on model is to draw more. If you draw 10 pictures of your character, what are the odds that you are going to dislike all 10 of them? There's probably going to be 1 or 2 of them in there that are going to be keepers that you like, that you wouldn't have known that you were capable of doing if you didn't try. So I would definitely say draw more, draw your character more, and doing different things. And that'll give you an opportunity to see different versions of your character. Another point that I want to make regarding your characters being on model, like if you're doing a series, a cartoon series, a comic book series, a picture book series, any kind of series where you are drawing the same characters, I want you to know, like, there's so many amazing cartoons out there that they didn't, like, look, the final version of that cartoon didn't look like the first edition of that cartoon. Like, it didn't look perfect in the beginning, if that makes sense. Like, for example, King of the Hill, for example. You see the beginning episodes to the ending episodes. The Simpsons, for example. See the beginning episodes to the ending episodes. Arthur, for example. If you see Mark Brown's illustrations of Arthur in the book and then you see the show, like, you know, I was watching this thing and they were talking about like models evolve over time, character models evolve over time. And I think that can't be more true, especially like if you're trying new things and the character can like look the same, have the same basic description, but you're just tightening up lines or something like that. I just think that's going to be really beneficial to you. It was very beneficial to me, knowing like other people have struggled with the same thing before, and even if you don't necessarily love what your picture looks like right now, what your characters on paper look like right now, like, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get to a version of them that you really love, or that you know is how it's supposed to be, is how you see it in your mind's eye. So that is all the tips that I have for you to get your characters on model. Did you have some favorite tips that you liked? Ones that you tried before that have worked for you? If you tried them right now after watching this video, please leave a comment and say how they worked for you, or if there was one I said that you really liked and it's just really good, you can say that in the comments. So that's all that I have for you on how to keep your characters on model. Thank you so much for watching.